Good morning, students. Again, welcome to this YouTube video lecture. So, in the last three classes, I was discussing W.B. Yeats's poem, The Ballad of Father Gilligan. And today, I have for you one of the greatest poems of all times. And that is a very, very universal poem, as you all know, must have heard. Psalm of Life. Right? This is the poem. So, it is a remarkable poem, as we all know, a timeless poem having a universal tone and appeal. It will be a poem worth discussing, and the poet is H. W. Longfellow. H. W. Longfellow, F-E-L-L-O-W, in full Henry Wordsworth Longfellow. Right? So, as I told you all, it is a universal poem having a timeless appeal in it, and it is addressed to all the entire human race. It will be a poem worth reading, worth discussing, word by word, line by line. So, a major poem is this, right? Well, so before commencing the discourse or discussion, let us know what a psalm is, right? P-S-A-L-M, the word. P will remain silent, rest part S-A-L-M should be pronounced as S-A-A-M, Psalm, right? So, Psalm of life, right? Psalm of life, okay. What I was telling you people, you guys, this poem is in the list of one of the most popular poems of all times. Okay. Again, in this poem, the poet glorifies life. The poet tries to trace out the immense possibilities of life, and he tries to teach you and me how should we make our life a meaningful one, a righteous one, how should we follow the right path, etc. Okay, so the title Psalm of Life. Psalm means it might be a holy song, a holy or a sacred. Sacred, you know, pious, a holy or sacred song. It might be a religious song. It could also be a prayer, so it has got a bunch of meanings. Well, but literally, the meaning will be song. So now, if you apply song to psalm, then song of life, right? Song of life. So A is there. No doubt I wrote Psalm of Life, but it is a Psalm of Life, means this poem literally means a song of life. A song of life. To justify the title, it's a song which tries to glorify life, which tries to trace out the immense possibilities, probabilities, prospects of life. Okay, so in this poem, the poet tries to teach you and me. So, this is a poem which basically tries to teach us. So, any poem which tries to teach the readers is called a didactic poem. Look at the word didactic. Any poem which tries to teach the readers, which tries to instruct the readers, should be called a didactic poem. So, it is an example of a didactic poem. Okay. So, without making any delay, let us start this poem. How the poem starts? Look at the first line. Tell me not in mournful numbers life is but an empty dream. So in the very first line. Now, the first line is in imperative. I mean the first line is an imperative sentence. Okay. The first line is an imperative sentence. Okay. So, because the line starts with tell me not. Tell me not means don't tell me. Whom does the poet say don't tell me? We must know. We must know. So, don't tell me in mournful numbers. Well, mournful, 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 sad, right, numbers. Might be songs, might be poems, might be verses. So, in the very first line, the poet addresses what he addresses? Don't tell me in your sad poems. Whom does the poet say? Whom does the poet say? Don't tell me through your sad poems. Obviously, the first line is addressed to all those poets, writers, well, human beings, maybe. Okay, so life is but an empty dream. The poet asks, don't tell me in your sad poems, don't tell me in your sad poems that life is a hollow thing, life is a worthless thing, life is totally meaningless. So, the first line is addressed to all those pessimistic poets, pessimistic writers, pessimistic human beings who consider life as meaningless, as worthless, as hollow. Second line, life is but an empty dream. Look at empty dream, EMPTY DREAM, empty dream. What is empty dream? Hollow, meaningless dream. So, many of us, many of our poets, many of our writers often consider life as a meaningless thing, an unimportant thing, well, an insignificant thing, but the poet H.W. Longfellow is against it. Well, that's why he says, well, don't tell me. Well, that's why he says, don't tell me through your sadistic poems, through your pessimistic poems, through your negative poems, that life has no meaning, life is worthless. Well, that means the poet doesn't want to listen to such words. The poet doesn't want to listen to such words. He has a different conception of life. He has a different meaning of life. Well, the next two lines, for the soul is dead that slumbers. Look at the third line starts with the word for. I had told you, for at the beginning of a poetic line signifies because. We have to relate first two lines, well, to the next two lines, because the soul is dead that slumbers. Slumbers. Normally, SLUMBER, slumber, sleep. So, the soul is dead that slumbers. It means people who idle out their times, who are inactive, who are passive, they are internally dead. Okay, again clarifying the meaning, people who are passive, okay, people who do not do anything worthy, people who are indolent, lazy rather, are dead from their within. In fact, inactive people, they have no soul. The poet says, those who are inactive, those who don't believe in the concept of work, those who don't believe in the concept of karma, okay, are dead from within. Dead from within means souls are dead rather, and things are not what they seem. And to such people who are internally dead, okay, they fail to trace out the reality of things. They can never find out the true reality of things. They take things for granted from their external appearance. समझ में आया कि नहीं? जो लोग कुछ काम धाम नहीं करते हैं वो मरे हुए होते हैं अंदर से, उनका आत्मा मरा हुआ होता है। और ऐसे लोग जो हैं चीज़ों की हकीकत को समझ नहीं पाते हैं, वो चीज़ों को परखते हैं सिर्फ उनकी बाहरी बनावट से। ओके, चीज़ों के अंदर वो झांक नहीं सकते, उनकी हकीकत को वो जान नहीं पाते। दैट इज़ द थिंग। ऑब्वियसली दोज पीपल who don't believe in the concept of work, in the concept of karma, okay, they can never get into the reality of things. They lead a life of illusion, they lead a life of delusion, okay, वो वास्तवता की ज़िंदगी नहीं जीते हैं, वो एक वहम की ज़िंदगी जीते हैं। तो ऐसे लोगों का कहना है कि ज़िंदगी एक खोखला सपना है, जिनके खिलाफ हमारा पोइट है H.W. Longfellow. So in the first stanza it is clear the poet is against such beliefs and such pessimistic poets, okay, who often claim that life has no meaning, life is worthless, life is hollow, right? And the poet's opinion is that those people who say such on life, are rather internally dead, they have no soul in themselves, right? Such people can never get into the reality of things. They lead a life of illusion, delusion, they live in a make-believe world, वो वहम की ज़िंदगी जीते हैं, right? ऐसे लोग के लिए ज़िंदगी खोखला है, right? So the poet is never in favor of the opinion that life is simply a hollow dream. So in the next stanza, look, life is real, life is earnest, life is real, life is earnest. Next stanza, first line, life is real, exclamatory mark, and then life is earnest. So this particular line is an open criticism against what we had discussed the first two lines. Life is but an empty dream. So for the pessimistic poets, for people with negativities, life is but an empty dream. But for our poet, life is real, life is earnest. That means the poet wants to emphasize that life is not at all an empty dream, life is not at all worthless, life is rather a real thing, packed with all sincerity, all seriousness, all possibilities. So the second stanza is an answer to the first stanza. In what way? In the first stanza, the poet says life is not at all an empty dream. So in what way life is not at all an empty dream? Rather, life is filled with all sorts of sincerity, seriousness. Okay, life has immense potentialities, life has infinite possibilities. In that way, life is real, life is a serious affair. And the grave is not its goal. Second line. And the grave is not its goal. Here, the poet wants to emphasize the fact that life never ends with death. Grave. Grave here signifies death. Now the line, and the grave is not its goal. The poet wants to say life never ends with death. Life never ends with the body going to grave. Okay, so that means the poet wants to, reiterate that there is still life after death. Human beings still will go on to live on even after their death. That's why the poet says life never ends up with grave or death. We shall find out how we people go on living our lives even after our death. Well, in the later part of the poem, it has been elaborated, justified. Well, next two lines: Dust thou art, to dust thou returnest, was not spoken of the soul. This is a universal line. Dust thou art. Dust thou art, THOU, thou, you, ART, R. So these are thou art, Old English forms, modern English forms, thou for you, art for R. So dust thou art, that means you are dust, thou for you, art for R, you are dust. Dust thou returnest, you return to dust. So amazing line, you are dust, you return to dust. Actually, it's a line from the Bible. So this line is from the Bible. It means this line is biblical, Biblical, biblical. So it's a reference to the Bible. And as we know the story of Adam and Eve, Adam, the first human being, according to Bible, okay, was born immortal. But as we know, Adam, stole and ate the forbidden apple. So God cursed him. Otherwise, Adam was born immortal. Okay, so this sentence is one of the many curses that God pronounced upon Adam. एक्चुअली भगवान ने आदम को बनाए थे इमोर्टल. ओके, इसका मतलब आदम को ना ही विंटर की कड़ाके की ठंड का कोई असर होगा, ना ही गर्मी का असर होगा, ना ही बारिश की असर होगा. ओके, ही विल बी फ्री फ्रॉम ऑल सॉर्ट्स ऑफ डिजीजेज एंड एलिमेंट्स, राइट. लेकिन जब आदम ने फॉरबिडन एप्पल चुराया तो भगवान ने श्राप दिए कि मैं तुझे धूल से बनाया था, तो धूल में ही मिट जाएगा. मतलब भगवान ये बोलना चाहते थे कि मैं तुझे अमर बनाया था, अभी तू मरेगा. मरेगा मतलब तू धूल मिट्टी में मिल जाएगा. और नेचुरली जब हम मरते हैं, हमको दफना दिया जाता है या जला दिया जाता है, हमारा शरीर तो मिट्टी में मिल जाता है ना, राख हो जाता है. तो देखो, तो dust thou art, to dust thou returnest. It was one of the many curses pronounced upon Adam by God. Okay, you are dust, to dust you will return. मतलब तू मरेगा, तू राख बन जाएगा, तू मिट्टी में मिल जाएगा. ऐसा बोल के भगवान ने श्राप दिए थे आदम को. लेकिन ये जो भगवान श्राप दिए थे, इट वॉज नॉट स्पोकन, आई मीन this particular curse was not uttered, not pronounced upon Adam's soul. It was rather pronounced upon his body. भगवान जो बोले तो मिट्टी में मिल जाएगा, तो धूल में मिल जाएगा, इसका मतलब भगवान ये बोले थे आदम के शरीर के ऊपर, आदम के आत्मा के ऊपर थोड़ी ना बोले थे. तो मतलब ये हुआ कि पोइट ये बोलना चाहते हैं कि जब हम मरते हैं, हमारे शरीर मिटता है, लेकिन हमारे आत्मा, it remains immortal. It becomes Paramatma. Okay, it merges with the universal soul. तो पोएट जो शुरू किए थे फर्स्ट टू लाइन्स कि मौत के साथ जिंदगी खत्म होता है, लेकिन आत्मा जिंदा रहता है हमेशा. ओके, इन अदर वर्ड्स, ए पर्सन गोज ऑन लिविंग इन द फॉर्म ऑफ हिज सोल which is immortal, and whatever was cursed upon Adam was rather pronounced upon his body and not upon his soul which is always immortal. तो पोइट एक चीज़ को जस्टिफाई करना चाहते हैं. क्या चीज़? कि इंसान का शरीर मरता है, बॉडी इज मोर्टल बट नॉट द सोल. दैट इज दैट इन आवर in our Hindu Vedas also this thing has been emphasized कि human beings die in their bodies but not in their souls. Well, go for the next stanza, the third stanza of the poem. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way. देखो destined, D-E-S-T, destined, D-E-S-T-I-N-E-D, anything which has been pre-decided by God, जो भगवान पहले से तय करके रखे हैं उसको बोलते हैं हम destined हैं. Anything which is in our luck, which is in our fortune, जो हमारे नसीब में है, जो जरूर होगा एक ना एक दिन, that is called destined. तो देखो, not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way. हम इस दुनिया में नहीं आए हैं मज़ा करने के लिए या अपनी दुख के ऊपर गम करने के लिए. हम इस दुनिया में नहीं आए हैं, बल्कि हमको ये जो दुनिया में भेजा गया है, हम उस मकसद के साथ हमको नहीं भेजाया गया है कि हम यहाँ दुनिया में आके या तो मज़े लुटाएं या अपने दुर्भाग्य के ऊपर, ठीक है, आंसू टपकाएं. इस उद्देश्य के साथ भगवान ने हमको यहाँ नहीं भेजे हैं. Understood me? This is not in our destiny that we should take much fun, we should take much celebrations, we should enjoy, and we should lament over our failures, or we should poke our fingers at our misfortune. No, 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 never this. तो ये तय नहीं है कि हम मज़ा लूटेंगे और आंसू टपकाएंगे, बल्कि हमको क्या करना चाहिए? इन द नेक्स्ट टू लाइन्स, बट टू एक्ट that each tomorrow finds us farther than today. This is important. So in the first two lines, okay, enjoyment and sorrow. Okay, I mean to make fun, to enjoy, and to lament and to wail. Okay, these are not prefixed. Understood me? Then what is prefixed? Karma. ओके, द कंसेप्ट ऑफ वर्क इज प्रीफिक्स्ड. हमारे नसीब में क्या है? काम करना. देखो लास्ट टू लाइन्स में तो हमारे नसीब में ये नहीं है कि हम या तो मज़ा लुटाएं या आंसू टपकाएं, बल्कि हमारे नसीब में क्या है? टू एक्ट दैट ईच टुमारो फाइंड्स अस फार्दर देन टुडे. तो हमारे नसीब में लिखा है कि हम काम करेंगे, काम करते जाएंगे, ऐसे काम करते जाएंगे कि हमारा हर कल आज से बेहतर हो. दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट. तो वी शुड गो ऑन वर्किंग एंड वर्किंग, बट वी शुड गो ऑन टू एक्ट एंड एक्ट इन ए प्रैक्टिकल मैनर, इन ए वर्चुअस मैनर, सो दैट विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम वी मेक प्रोग्रेस. ओके, आवर लाइफ विल बी ए प्रोग्रेसिव वन, our life will be a fruitful one. This is the point that the poet wants to raise. Our future should be made fruitful on the strength of our present act, present deeds. This is important. This is important. हम आज ऐसा करेंगे या हर आज हम ऐसा काम करते जाएंगे कि हमारा हर कल बेहतर होता जाएगा. This is the key note. This is the key thing that the poet wants to raise here in this poem. Okay, so concept of work, the concept of karma is of primary importance in this poem. जिंदगी में मज़े लूटाना या आंसू टपकाना ये नसीब में है, ऐसा सोचना बेवकूफ़ी है. बल्कि हम सोचेंगे कि हमारे नसीब में है काम करना, हर वक्त काम करते रहना, the sense of duty, the sense of work. If we go on doing our deed in a proper way, in a practical way, then obviously our each tomorrow will be better than today. That's it. Come to fourth stanza. Art is long and time is fleeting. So this is a major line. Art is long and time is fleeting. Have a look. art is long, put a comma, okay, and time is fleeting, and time is fleeting, F-L-E-E-T-I-N-G, fleeting, you know, fleeting means temporary, fleeting means short-lived, okay, yeah, time is fleeting, वक्त कभी भी नहीं टिकता है, वक्त हमेशा फ्लिट करता रहता है, मतलब वक्त हमेशा आगे बढ़ता रहता है, किसी को वेट नहीं करता है, इट इज़ नॉट एट ऑल स्टैटिक, इट इज़ नॉट एट ऑल स्टैग्नेंट. Art is long. What is art? Art has many meanings here. So this is, you know, actually art is long and time is fleeting is a proverb. It's a universal proverb. We must spot out the meaning. Here art will mean, okay, well, it might be act, okay, it might be skill of life, S-K-I-L-L, skill of life, constructive work, it might be achievements, it might be success, many meanings. Now come to the line, art is long and time is fleeting. Art is long means, well, something is time consuming. What is time consuming? You know, the skill of life is time consuming. Well, to do something constructive, okay, to do something constructive is a time consuming affair. जिंदगी में अगर हम कुछ कंस्ट्रक्टिव करना चाहते हैं तो वो थोड़ी ना एक दो दिन में होता है, वो पूरा सालों, ओके, दैट टू, वेल, सच ए थिंग कंज्यूम्स, ओके, डिकेड्स एंड डिकेड्स, राइट, एनी कंस्ट्रक्टिव वर्क, राइट, एनी skill that we want to acquire, okay, any remarkabilities, right, any major achievement, any major success are always time consuming. They cannot be attained overnight. Well, on the other hand, our lifespan is very short. Time is fleeting, matlab time is always short lived, time is always temporary. So in our hands, well, we have less time, but we have a long and arduous process of attaining the skill of life, or we have a long and difficult process of do something constructive. कुछ कंस्ट्रक्टिव करने के लिए देखो हमको बहुत वक्त चाहिए, या ज़िंदगी में कुछ स्किल हासिल करने के लिए कुछ लंबा वक्त चाहिए, लेकिन हमारे पास टाइम बहुत कम है. टाइम बहुत कम मतलब, वेल, जितना भगवान ने हमको टाइम दिया है, आवर लाइफ स्पान, दैट इज टू स्कैंटी, दैट इज टू शॉर्ट फॉर एनी कंस्ट्रक्टिव वर्क इज टू बी अचीव्ड. ओके, इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि one lifespan is not at all sufficient for achieving the acquired skill of life, or to do something purposeful, to do something fruitful. Okay, well, right, that is the meaning. And our hearts, एक तो हमारे पास वक्त बहुत कम है, काम हासिल करने का जो वक्त चाहिए वो हमसे हर वक्त छूट रहा है. And our hearts, thou stout and brave, our hearts, दूसरे तरफ our hearts, thou stout and brave means our hearts externally appear very strong, very energetic, very courageous, but still then like muffled drums, muffled, M-U-F-F-L-E-D, muffled drums, drums covered with clothes, C-L-O-T-H-E-S. Okay, muffled drums means drums covered with clothes. Such drums are played such drums are played when basically, in Christian religion, such drums are played whenever, whenever a dead body is being taken on a funeral march. And why drums are covered with cloths? So that drums will produce a rough and dull sound suitable to the sad occasion. If the drums are not covered, okay, they will produce a loud noise which might be inappropriate or unsuitable to the particular situation of sadness. So, our hearts externally they may appear strong and courageous, but still then like such drums. So, muffled drums produce a dull, rough, low sound because they are covered with cloths. So, our hearts, well, are producing such sounds. No doubt, hearts appear very, very brave and courageous externally, yet our hearts produce such sounds like muffled drums, and producing such sounds, our hearts are moving inch and inch closer to our respective graves. तो पोइट ये बताना चाहते हैं कि हमारा ज़िंदगी, हमारा वक्त बहुत ही कम है, लेकिन काम बहुत ही ज़्यादा है ज़िंदगी में, और दूसरे तरफ हमारे दिल हर धड़कन के साथ, और हमारा दिल का धड़कन कैसा है, मफल ड्रम्स के भांति, मतलब आवर हार्ट्स आर प्रोड्यूसिंग ए फियरफुल, ए नर्वस साउंड, बिकॉज क्यों, हमको मौत की खौफ है, तो हमारे हर दिल की धड़कन में मौत की खौफ, ओके, और ऐसे धड़कन के साथ हम धीरे 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 वेयर आर वी मार्चिंग टू आवर ग्रेव्स, हम मौत के करीब करीब जा रहे हैं। इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि आवर लाइफ स्पान इज वेरी लिमिटेड, वी हैव लेस टाइम, एंड अगेन इन ईच बीट ऑफ आवर हार्ट, well, there is a panic of death, means every moment we are death conscious. That's why the poet says our hearts are beating like those muffled drums. That means our hearts are nervous, right? They have death consciousness, etc. and etc. So we have come up to the fourth stanza of the poem. I hope this will be much for today. In the next class, we shall recommence from the next stanza. Well, so till then, please revise things, go in detail, listen to this video attentively and carefully. Okay, so, chalo, take care, good day, bye bye.